cast members that are with us tonight. I feel like every Ridley Scott movie at its best feels like a movie that only Ridley Scott could possibly do. And he has done it again. At the ripe old age of 86 years old, he has done this. It is an extraordinary achievement. Let us celebrate tonight with 4 amazing actors. Please give it up for Fred Hechinger, everybody. Fred, come on out. To Mr. Denzel Washington. Come on out. To the extraordinary Connie Nielsen. And our newest gladiator, Mr. Paul Mescal. Come on out, Paul. Congratulations, guys. What an achievement. Paul, are you ready to be told, in Starbucks, everywhere, strength and honor the rest of your life, every context?
I cannot wait.
Doctor's office, parking. No, but congratulations, man. Look, we can exhale now because the movie obviously works. It is an extraordinary achievement, but yeah, come on. But that first film, 12 Oscar nominations, Best Picture, it launched Russell into the stratosphere. Excuse me, at what point do you exhale in this production, if ever?
Getting to the exhaling moment. I think when I saw it for the first time, I was in a studio in Twickenham and watching it by myself, and obviously the pressure of watching it for the first time is incredibly intense, but when you look at what Ridley does and then with the opening sequence in Numidia, I was like, okay, I knew this the whole time we were filming it, but it's a different act in watching it. When I was watching the opening sequence, I was like, okay, we're in the hands of a master, and yeah, that was maybe the first mini exhale.
Do you remember the moment that you got the call that you were indeed going to be the lead of this film, and what's the first step? Like, where do you even begin in this process?
I was walking to the theater, and my agents called, and I'll remember it for as long as I live because I had my headphones in, and there's probably 5, 6 people in the world who know it at that point. I remember I felt in this total bubble of privacy that then was going to, as the next couple of months, hopefully will entail, kind of just explode somewhat. But then you hang up and you go in and you do the play, and you go to bed and you wake up the next morning and you're like, oh fuck,
now the work begins.
So there was, I think that's when the breath began being held, and you hold on for dear life and you do the work that you would do on any other role, but the scale is just so much bigger, but the job is the same.
Connie, welcome back to the world of Gladiator. It wouldn't be Gladiator without you.
Thank you.
Did you ever think this day would come? There have obviously been many rumors and talks over the years. What was it like to finally get the go-ahead? Like, we're actually doing this.
I was just worried whether they were going to get the story right, and I wasn't sure how they were going to do that. And so when I read the script, it was just like, talk about holding your breath, and then getting to all of these emotional beats, and you were like, oh, we're good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah. It was like that kind of relief when I read the script.
It must have also been so heartening, and now that we've all seen the film, we can say, how pivotal, obviously, you are to this story. This is your journey in many ways as well throughout this story. What struck you about where you find yourself in this story when you first read the script? What excited you about coming back?
It's so incredible the way that the writer set my character up, because she's both living in a constant state of heartbreak and in a constant state of love. And to be able to play a woman who is both experiencing the joy of being loved by an amazing man who loves her fully and utterly, and then at the same time that she's lost the most precious thing in her whole life, which is her son. And we find her not only in that unstable state, but she's also a prisoner of 2 maniacs, one of which is sitting right there.
Not that sweet man over there. What? It's true. That's why I kept him away from me today. Mr. Denzel Washington, congratulations, sir. What an I know your mantra I've always heard you say over the years is, if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. But it's also about Ridley here too. It's not just about the script. It's about getting that call, I would think, from Mr. Ridley Scott. Is that, in a nutshell, what got you excited about this?
Yes. Yes. Ridley, Gladiator, Quinn.
You've obviously worked with Ridley before. If you had to describe to another actor what's unique about Ridley versus, you've worked with many greats, what's the special sauce that Ridley does?
No nonsense. I mean, that's the first thing comes to mind. Yeah, he's just no nonsense. It's just get on with it, and there's cameras everywhere. He's a master. He's a grand master. So you know you're in good hands, and you feel free to fly.
I was going to say, this is infamous. Like, no one does it like Ridley. He operates up to 12 cameras at once. Does that free you up as an actor? Are you even aware of where the cameras are?
I'm not. I don't want to know. I could care less. If you tell them the truth, you tell them the truth. If you're lying, they'll catch you.
Cameras can do that. Fred, congratulations, man. Talk to me about this remarkably effed up guy you play here. Do you feel a little naked without your twin? We're missing the great Joe Quinn today.
Who Sends His Love, he's filming right now, but I felt in so many ways that we built these characters together. So I do feel naked without him, but I also feel naked without, the red hair, the monkey on the shoulder. I think they're characters of great excess. It's where it's like rotting gold. It's where all of the luxury and the money goes to rot, essentially. So we had rings on every finger, and that was a kind of protection.
What is the process, though? I mean, look, every actor is only as good as their screen partner, but certainly in this, again, you were so linked with Joe, and you have to be on the same page to complement each other. What was the process, like before you even got on set? Were you discussing how we're gonna lock in to these two characters?
Yeah. It was this kind of beautiful collaboration because I felt like we were like an old vaudevillian couple in some ways. Like we had this act that we were traveling together with, but at the same time, I feel there was a key to being completely independent as well. So there's half of them that's codependent and they live for each other, and there's another half of them that is completely competitive and will destroy one another. And I felt like we preserved the collaboration of the one part, and then we also held on secretly to our independence.
I don't know always whether to trust the production notes, but I want to believe this is true. Tell me that Beavis and Butthead was an inspiration in some small way.
It's 100% true, and it was a conversation with Sir Ridley Scott. Ridley's a Beavis and Butthead fan, I must admit. And he has, he wants, I think, what you watch up here to feel as alive and real as anything happening today. I don't think he has that kind of dusty mentality of if it happened in the past, it doesn't exist. So all of his influences, some of them were incredibly contemporary. Sid Vicious was also a reference. So it spanned a lot of different kind of characters.
A reminder to audiences out everywhere, including here, Paul made his film debut just 3 years ago, which is insane to think of where you are now and the kind of work you've accomplished in just 3 years. I say this with love, but it's a real question. Had you ever done a stunt on screen before, Paul?
I had done one fight scene before. This was a bit of a step up. In that but and to be totally fair, like independent budgets don't really accommodate the safety of actors, generally speaking. So you kind of just wing it and hope that the other actor doesn't punch you in the face. But we had a great stunt team on this.
I mean, look. The physicality is part and parcel. You can't play the gladiator, without transforming to a degree. I don't know, how did you approach it? What did you want to convey in the physicality of Lucius?
Well, I made the mistake first when it was initially announced that I was going to play it. I very naively spoke to a journalist and I was like, I think I'm going to play the gladiator kind of like in a normal-ish physique, like trying to, but like I realized that I was playing against what actually the film requires. But like, to put it simply, like, they give you everything. On a film of this scale, you have the best trainer you could ever imagine. You have your food delivered to the door. So it's like, that requires discipline, but it's not hard work. That's it. That's just people at the top of their game telling you what to do. But in terms of the psychology that comes with training, is you start feeling like your body is capable, which is a weird sentence to say, but you start feeling like your body can inflict damage. Which is a weird, like, it changes the way that you move and operate, and if you're being honest, that is a fun kind of place to live when you know that it's make-believe, you know?
I think one of the beauties of these two films and why they work so well is there is the spectacle, and nobody does it like Ridley, but these are also very intimate character dramas about loyalty and betrayal and family. And, you know, Connie, you alluded to this, but another actor that's not with us tonight is the great Pedro Pascal, and your dynamic with him, there's such a sense of a lived-in relationship that is conveyed from the opening moments between you two. Can you talk a little bit about how you established that with Pedro?
I don't know if this is just Ridley's like instinct, but he tends to, in my opinion, cast people that naturally end up having some kind of chemistry. Like, I walked on set and I basically met my husband like that moment, and we went into making this scene, and we didn't really have to say anything to each other before. We just took like these odd little moments to just check with the other person during the scene. Are you on with this game? Are you happy to go with this game? And I can confirm that Pedro Pascal loves to be in the game. He is a playful person all the way through and through. There is, at the same time, also this, you sense that he has lived pain as well, and when you put those two things together, the lived pain and yet like this beautiful spirit that just wants to play, I mean, it is the most lovable, most beautiful person, and it was like a true pleasure playing with him.
Talk about that sense of play. Denzel, you've been on amazing film sets throughout your career, but there must be something special putting on these costumes, putting on the rings, the earring, and stepping onto a Ridley Scott set. This is the kind of old school movie making that doesn't happen. Does that do a lot of the work for you? Does that put you in the right headspace immediately?
I hope so. It definitely helps you because it appears real. You know, he built Rome. You got 10,000 people walking around with 4,000 horses and all, you know, everything. So it would be hard. That was contemporary. That was the time. I mean, we were in the middle of it. So
Even homeless people on the street.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Is there anything that you suggested specifically about the wardrobe that was important to you for Macrinus, or did you leave it in the hands of the artisans?
Very capable. I just wanted more rings.
This can't possibly be enough rings. More rings, please.
More rings. More rings.
Fred, it's one thing to work with the great Denzel Washington, but you also have a monkey on your shoulder. I mean, that's a distraction. What's it like? You want to focus up with one of the greatest living actors, and you've got a monkey right there.
Ridley really does love animals. I think it's clear in his work. He's always throwing animals into the equation because I think it speaks something truthful about our animalistic nature, what humans can do. So he loved that monkey, and that monkey was a pivotal, fundamental part of the character from the original script I read. So that was a hilarious pleasure, but still, I mean, I feel nothing can distract from getting to work with, you know, it's a great here. So it was such an enormous joy and pleasure every scene that we did. I will say, when you're really in the zone, you forget about there is no distraction, you know. You're in the moment of the moment of the moment, and that's what it's like to work with this actor and these actors.
Oh, let's pretend Denzel's not here. He can't hear us. I'm sorry, Mr. Washington. We have to do this.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have to.
But we will. What's it like to be in the scene with Denzel Washington?
Like, it was never in the bingo cards for me. I never expected, like I can't tell you the first day, I think it's the scene with Ravi when I'm kind of smoked the opium. It was one of the first days I remember shooting with you. I remember Denzel coming around the corner and just being met with this force where I was like, okay, it's sink or swim now. Because he is the most extraordinary talent, and he kind of just picks you up, and you can only attempt to. It sounds sycophantic, but it's really not. You're trying to hold on to this energy and trying to wrap on and grab for anything that you can. But he also, with all of this energy and presence, especially as we got further into the shoot, like one of my favorite times ever on set was towards the end, post-strike. That's when we had the tail end of the film to shoot. And like a lot of the greatest memories that I have with him would be kind of just talking about Othello with the chairs pulled up, and he like is an encyclopedic force when it comes to acting. Like he's done it all and he continues to do it. So like,
Were you there the day the guy said I should play Othello?
yeah, I was there. I was like, you should play
Othello in January because of a conversation we were having. I forgot.
I'll say great.
That's true. It's true. But the guy was saying, no, you absolutely. I thought I was too old. He's like, no, you're not. You should play
I was
it.
trying to get him to play Willie Loman, which I would also love to see. So whatever I can do to get Denzel to play every role on stage, I'll happily do.
Amazing. The secret producer of upcoming Othello, Paul
I
Mescal.
can hear my agent over there now. He's like, you
gets
get
nothing.
no, you get nothing.
Denzel, can you justify Macrinus's actions? I mean, the thing that's always said, obviously, even if you play the villain, they're the hero of their own story. Can you make that case for Macrinus?
No. You don't know what he's been through. I'll leave it right there. What he was, what was done to him.
And do you have that in there?
Now? No.
Yeah, I mean, back when you were shooting.
I'm not that cerebral, moment to moment. You know, it depends upon who walks in the room. Whatever I'm thinking, it changes. I might think, oh, he's gonna walk in and it's him. So, you know what I mean? So.
Gotcha. Connie, what are the biggest differences in productions? Nearly a quarter century apart from Gladiator and Gladiator 2. Is Ridley's process much the same, or has much changed?
Technology has evolved, and the fact is that Ridley has always been an early adopter of technology and someone who enjoys technology for allowing him to basically create onto the screen what he's seeing inside his mind. And so basically, when we were doing Gladiator 1, he was stretching the medium and the technology as far as he could possibly do at the time. And I think sometimes felt frustrated that technology couldn't go any further. Not only that, but back in the day, the amount of time that it took to recharge all of the cameras with like all of the film and so on, and setting the lights and light measure. Like I haven't seen anyone with a light measure since then, and now there were focus pullers, there were like tape that was coming up to your nose, and there was all of this stuff that needed to be precise 25 years ago, and none of that exists anymore, and it allows a man who's in a hurry to speed up even more. It's almost like this technology allowed him to go onto a highway where there are no speed limits, and that is where he prefers to be.
Well, and that is the thing also, we talked about the multiple cameras. I mean, this is the guy that's like storyboarding the next movie while he's doing the first movie.
That's what he, yeah.
So what, and that must help you, Paul. Obviously, we're talking about, the indie film roots. It's still a giant movie and it can't move as fast as those films, but the speed must help you.
But it's an interesting thing. I think Ridley is like a trust-based director. So you earn that trust. but like you try to play little games within it. So like, you know, the rhythm's probably going to be take one. If you don't break the set down, there's a good chance it's going to be in the film. Second take is kind of an insurance take. So I remember turning to Ben, our first AD, kind of after a week when I was sussing out how it's all working, and I go to Ben. So Ben, on take 2, can we just do a series so that I'll like get an extra take in for free? A sequel in. I thought I was fucking getting away with this. So I got away with it for about a week, and then we're going over to another set, and Ridley's walking on the side and he puts his hand on my shoulder and he goes, by the way, I know what you're fucking doing. But like, I think it was indicative of the fact that he knew that what I was doing from off the bat, but he's not going to, if he doesn't feel like you're doing it, he's not going to let you have your way, because he's a greater director than you, like, he's not going to wait around for kind of, I think, bad actors. Somebody who's not prepared, so I think he was doing me a service of sorts.
Sound is broke.
He was doing me a service of sorts.
As I prepare for, fellow.
We can just project.
Okay.
We'll project.
We shall project. What's the most frequent direction from Ridley Scott?
What is the most frequent direction from Ridley Scott?
That would happen in my life. Thank you, Denzel.
Ridley won't give you a note if he doesn't feel like it's required. I think he'll let you go, but his notes aren't usually very verbose. They're thoughts, like little drops, and then yeah.
To me, it's more like he will say, just so you know, the camera is seeing this and it's seeing that. So he is telling you that there's actually like a physical metaphor that you might want to know is part of what he's set up, which is so cool, because then you get to really like bring in like the whole physical aspect. Like he's already thought of things you didn't even think about.
I have a spoilery question, but this crowd has seen this film, obviously. Denzel, I'm just curious, working with Joe Quinn, and not necessarily Joe Quinn, but Joe Quinn's prosthetic head. Is that an interesting day on set? Any memories in particular? Because that's one of my favorites in the film, I have to say.
No good story to tell.
Just another day at the office?
Yeah, another day at the office. And I think I was spinning it around, looking at everybody. I had a good time with that.
I'll wrap this up so we're not screaming our heads off, but new skill sets unlocked for you, Paul. I mean, again, this is a step up in many respects.
Yeah.
What do you add to the CV, having done Gladiator 2?
Horse riding is the big one. Like, I fell absolutely, and the horse that I was on was called the Doctor, and he's like a famous horse in the film world. So I think I've actually retired him. I think he's he's an older horse, but it was there's a stunt in the film where I jump up on the horse, and I'd rehearsed it for 3, 4, 5 weeks in the lead up to it, and then as we were getting closer to filming it, Ridley got nervous about me coming off the horse. But I'd spent all this time with Doctor, and so the week before he goes, "There's no fucking way you're doing that stuff. Like, it's just not happening." So I was devastated, petitioned him every single day. I was like going and annoying him. And then on the day before we were to do the stunt, he goes, if you come off the horse, you owe me 2 Bentleys." So thankfully I didn't come off the horse, and I didn't have to pay him 2 Bentleys.
Sometimes we need different incentives to accomplish the job. Congratulations, everybody. It's a remarkable achievement.